Good morning, everyone. I suppose you're wondering why I called this meeting today. And I've had a bit of a brain relapse, can't remember why. Anyway, thanks very much, everyone, for all your time and energy, for the safe travels, and it's actually mind-blowing to think that we've got so many great people all together, all in one room, and I think we're going to have lots of fun, and we're going to learn a lot over the next couple of days. And without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Noel Fine from Calgary.
Okay, thank you, Anne-Marie. So we're finally here. We finally made it, and thank you all for coming to the second Amyloidosis Summit. We had our first summit last year, but this year we've expanded it, and we have healthcare providers and patients and support persons and all in the same space. So we're really excited to be growing as a community, and this event will continue to grow. It was a big success last year, and so we've got high hopes for this year as well. So thanks again for being here. This event is also a hybrid event, as most of you know, so we have a virtual audience, so I want to say hello to everyone at home, if you're in your pajamas or if you're watching Netflix while this is on. We're very glad that you've tuned in to join us as well. So yeah, I'm Noel Fine. I'm a cardiologist in Calgary, and I have an interest in amyloidosis, of course. And it's my honor to be delivering the opening keynote address for our summit here today. Let's see if I can figure this out. I'm sure I have to point it at something or somewhere or somebody. Oh, there we go. Is this working, or are you guys advancing it? You're advancing it. Okay, okay. Okay. Pardon me? Will do. Okay. So this was the opening slide. I was honored again last year to kick off the summit as well. And this was the opening slide that I had, trying to sum up our fight against amyloidosis and the weapons that we're using, and the progress we've made. And the two key points were that we've made tremendous advancements, as I think most of you know, in the space of amyloidosis as well. Not just ATTR, but we've made tremendous advancements in AL amyloidosis, and you'll hear about those today. And our community has grown stronger, and that's probably our greatest strength, that we've come together more and more each year as a community. So I was trying to think, well, how could we build on that? All of that is still true. We've made great advancements even in the year and a half or less since last year's summit. So what could we build on that to kind of kick things off this year? Next slide, please. So I kind of came up with something very similar, but so we've made even greater progress. Oh, thank you. See if that works. Oh, it does. Okay. Yeah. So we've made even greater progress. We have an even stronger community, as evidence here today. But we still have lots more work to do. That progress and that growing of our community has pointed out that there are still a lot of areas that we need to improve on. We need to work together as a community to build access to care, access to treatment, awareness of the disorder. And so that will be kind of our theme, is that we're building on the work that we've already established, but we still have lots of work to do. So when we're trying to figure out where we're going, it's of course always important to look back at where we've come from. And I thought we would look back for about 5 years or so, which is relatively a short period of time. Amyloidosis, we've recognized, the Royal, we have known about amyloidosis for over 100 years. It's been a disease that's been well described for a long, long time. So 5 years is kind of a blink in the eye of the history of this disorder. But in that 5-year period, we've come leaps and bounds, and it's quite amazing what's happened over that period of time. So we'll kind of do a bit of a before and after. So this would happen before. So we'd have kind of multiple symptoms, multiple doctors, multiple tests done, multiple diagnoses, many of them incorrect, and then eventually, as patients would progress on and on, someone would finally realize what the patient had, and we would have opportunity missed. So today, we're much better at that. We have much better tools to diagnose it. We have much better knowledge and awareness of how the disease prevents its different faces. And so we have tests like PYP, and we do genetic testing. We recognize the importance of that. This, of course, is ATTR specific, but we have made similar advancements on the AL side in diagnosis as well. So we're much better at that. But we still have progress that we need to make with regards to that. We still diagnose the disease in its later stages too often. And then treatment. So I'll talk more about treatment in the next session, and then you'll hear more about some of the advancements in the session following. But it used to be that for ATTR at least, we would only control symptoms, and then we would have liver transplant available as our disease-modifying approach for a small subset of patients who were eligible for that. Now, of course, we have 2 categories of medical therapies which are highly effective, and we've got a number of others in the pipeline, which I'll talk about in the next session. And in fact, we've got 2 new drugs, I almost forgot, we've got 2 new drugs approved this year for the treatment of hereditary ATTR polyneuropathy, which I'll talk about, that 2 new agents that are Health Canada approved just in the last year alone. Yeah, and new ones in the pipeline. And again, not to be outdone, and we have Dr. Milani from Italy talking in the next session, so you'll hear lots about all of the advancements made in the AL space. But we've made tremendous advancements there as well, and patients are doing better and better, and that's incredibly exciting. What about guidelines, publications to help us figure out how to treat our patients better, and consensus recommendations? So this is what we used to have, right? Kind of nothing. And it was really, we were kind of on our own to figure out how to manage these patients on a patient-by-patient, clinic-by-clinic basis. In the last few years, there's been an explosion of guidelines. We have almost more guidelines than we know what to do with or have time to read. And they continue to be produced, and they become more and more specific to certain areas of disease management. And in fact, we have Canadian guidelines as well, and Canada has been very active in that space to help guide our Canadian clinicians. So awareness and advocacy, a critical part of managing and treating amyloidosis, a rare disease, any rare disease, awareness and advocacy is a critical part. And we like to say that amyloidosis is a rare disease that's not so rare, right? So lots of organizations available to help us with this. Of course, we have Transthyretin Amyloidosis Canada, who are leading the charge in Canada. We have the Canadian Amyloidosis Support Network as well. And they partner with a number of international and organizations from other countries. There's the International Society of Amyloidosis. There's the Amyloid Research Consortium in the US, which is represented here today, the Amyloid Alliance, and other groups as well across the world. So, as I said before, we have lots of progress, we have lots of knowledge, but learning more, as it always happens in medicine, shows you just how much you need to learn, and where our knowledge gaps are. And particularly as the therapies evolve, we learn more and more that we have lots of knowledge to gain and how best to use them. And also lots of care gaps. We've made, as I said, we've made lots of progress. It's as easy as it's ever been to get amyloidosis care, but it's still not easy, right? We have lots of gaps where we need to work on across Canada, and we're trying to learn, where those gaps are the widest so that we can fill them. So when it comes to knowledge, I cannot come up to a microphone and not mention the registry. I am physically incapable of not mentioning our registry when I'm standing at a podium. So the Canadian Registry for Amyloidosis Research is a national registry that has been growing steadily over the last couple of years, adding sites. And of course, its main purpose is to gain knowledge about the disease, about the Canadian population who have it, how they're getting treated, where they're getting treated, and it has very broad arching goals with regards to understanding amyloidosis better in Canada. There's the medical or clinical side of the registry, which is kind of a more traditional entering medical data, test results, and treatment, and that's done typically through the patient's clinics. And then there's also the patient-reported side of the registry, whereby patients can actually register themselves, go to our website, enter their information, and then they get a survey every year by email to update their status, how they're feeling, what are their perspectives on amyloidosis, how is it affecting them. And here's our current registry map. So we've been steadily trying to add more and more sites over the last couple of years. We currently have 5 active sites, with several more in the process of becoming active and onboarding. And we're happy that we've got over 500 patients now consented in the registry. We don't know how many we're going to get, and we're hopeful that we can get just about everybody with the disease in Canada included in the registry, so that we can understand how many people have this disease. We don't even know that much, and how it's spread across the country and where those patients are getting treatment. But there's other registries that are active in Canada, and many other research projects. We have a very dynamic and active research group in Canada trying to learn more about amyloidosis. This is another registry led by Dr. Robert Miller, who's a cardiologist that's focusing on PYP and the nuclear scintigraphy tests that we diagnose ATTR amyloidosis with, to understand access and how best it's used, and how it's being used across Canada. So many questions that we're looking to answer with research studies like these. And you'll hear about AI, right? We can't not today, or during the session this weekend. We can't not hear about AI these days, it seems, right? It's everywhere, it's being written all the time, lots and lots of information, hard to really know what to make of it all. Some of it, scary and doomsdayer, and some of it is very exciting. I think it's going to really revolutionize, and already has to a certain extent, the way we deliver healthcare. And I think it's critical for rare diseases like amyloidosis that can be challenging to detect and diagnose. And it's going to be an incredibly powerful tool that I think we're really going to rely on in the future. And so you're going to hear more about artificial intelligence today, and how it can improve our care for amyloidosis. And so what about the care that we deliver once we have the diagnosis? Well, I always like to say it takes a village, right, to look after patients with amyloidosis, and it really does. There's lots of problems. Of course, it's a systemic disease, and lots of different areas can be affected, and lots of different specialists get involved to help care for those patients. And again, we've advanced our knowledge on how to do this better and better all the time as we see and more patients and diagnose more and refine our approaches and our processes for caring for them. But it goes beyond just the clinic and looking after the patients. If we really want to push the needle forward and advance the field, it takes more than multidisciplinary care. It takes a much broader village, right? And it takes really everyone here in this room, everyone listening by Zoom today to advance care in a disease. And there's numerous different groups, numerous different stakeholders and pieces of the puzzle. And so really it is quite a team effort. And we've seen that. We've seen that growth happening across the country. And it's quite remarkable. What we've seen is that in different regions of the country, people in the amyloidosis community, healthcare providers, patients reach out to each other, find each other to figure out how to look after this problem, what to do, what are the best approaches, learn from others' experience. And those create these kind of grassroots networks, if you will, networks of people, networks of healthcare providers. And they've been popping up organically across the country over the last few years. And so we thought, why we're trying to harness that energy further. And Transthyretin Amyloidosis Canada has really grown and increased its national footprint over the years. And it's really been quite tremendous. But on the healthcare side, we thought we need to do this as well. We need to really get together. We need to organize ourselves. We speak louder with one voice rather than many voices that are spread across the country. And so that's what we've done. We've very happy to launch the Canadian Amyloidosis Society at the summit here this weekend. We'll have a session dedicated to it tomorrow afternoon to describe it in more detail. It's still very early days. We don't have a website yet, so that's coming. So we appreciate your patience, but we're very happy and proud, and we think this is going to make a huge impact on how amyloidosis care is delivered across Canada. And of course, you know, the main overarching goal of the society, as we'll talk about tomorrow as well, is to find where those gaps are that I was talking about earlier. Where are the areas that we need to strengthen amyloidosis care? Where are we strong? And how can we help fill those gaps in addition to spreading the knowledge around the country as evenly and broadly as we can? So yeah, amyloidosis is an iceberg, right? A lot of it hides beneath the surface and is lurking, and only little bits show their head at a time, which makes it so challenging. So with the strength of our community, we are slowly bringing that iceberg up. We're raising that iceberg more into the sun, and if I can beat this metaphor into the ground even further, we're hopefully melting it away, bit by bit. So I think the future is very bright for amyloidosis patients and those in the community. And of course, none of us would be having this conversation if not for the dynamic duo of Anne-Marie and Merv, who are just tireless and I like to say forces of nature who have done just incredible work over the years. So thank you to all of you for coming here. Yep. Thank you to all of you for being here, for being part of the community, for doing your part, and of course, special thank you to Anne-Marie and Merv for all they've done. So thanks very much.